Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to dive into something that's not just a story, not just a historical event, but the absolute cornerstone of Christian faith. It's the message that the Apostle Paul called of first importance. So, what is this message? Let's break it down together. In his first letter to the church in Corinth, Paul lays it out with incredible clarity. He says, "For what I received I passed on to you as of first importance, that Christ died for our sins according to the Scriptures, that he was buried, that he was raised on the third day according to the Scriptures." Let's unpack that first part. Christ died for our sins. This isn't just a statement about a historical death. It's a profound theological truth. The idea of "for our sins" points to a substitution. In the Old Testament, the sacrificial system was a constant reminder that sin separates us from a holy God and that atonement, a covering for sin, was required. These sacrifices were a temporary solution, a shadow pointing to a future, ultimate reality. That reality is Jesus Christ. His death wasn't a tragic accident. It was a purposeful, voluntary act of love. He, being sinless, took upon himself the penalty that we deserved for our wrongdoing, our rebellion, our sins. This act bridged the chasm that sin created between humanity and God. It's the ultimate demonstration of God's justice and his mercy, coming together in one perfect act. And notice Paul adds a crucial detail: according to the Scriptures. This wasn't a random event. Paul is saying that Jesus' death was the fulfillment of prophecies written hundreds of years earlier. Think of Isaiah 53, which paints a vivid picture of a suffering servant who would be pierced for our transgressions and crushed for our iniquities. Or Psalm 22, which describes in startling detail the experience of crucifixion. From the very beginning, God had a rescue plan, and it was woven throughout the pages of the Old Testament, all pointing to this moment. The cross wasn't plan B, it was always the plan. Next, Paul says that he was buried. This might seem like a minor detail, but it's incredibly significant. Why? Because it confirms the reality of his death. A burial isn't for someone who just fainted or appeared to be dead. It's for someone who is definitively, undeniably deceased. His body was taken down from the cross, wrapped in linen cloths, and placed in a solid rock tomb, sealed with a massive stone. Roman guards were even stationed there. This detail eliminates any doubt. Jesus didn't just swoon. He truly died. The burial is the historical anchor that grounds the story. It proves the finality of his death, which makes what happens next all the more miraculous. And this brings us to the climax of the message, the part that changes everything, that he was raised on the third day, according to the Scriptures. This is the game changer. Without the resurrection, the death of Jesus would be just another tragic martyrdom. But his rising from the dead proves that he was who he said he was, the Son of God. It validates his claims and proves that his sacrifice for sin was accepted by God the Father. Death, the final enemy, was defeated. Think about it. If Jesus had stayed in the tomb, Christianity would have died with him. The disciples would have scattered for good, their leader a failed Messiah. But something happened that transformed these terrified, hiding men into bold preachers willing to die for their message. That something was the resurrected Jesus. He appeared to them, not as a ghost, but in a physical, glorified body. He ate with them, spoke with them, and commissioned them. And again, Paul adds, according to the Scriptures. The resurrection was also foretold. Jesus himself predicted it multiple times. Prophecies like the one in Psalm 16 say that God would not let his Holy One see decay. The story of Jonah spending 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the great fish was seen by Jesus as a sign pointing to his own 3 days in the heart of the earth before rising again. This wasn't an afterthought. It was the prophesied, triumphant conclusion to God's plan of redemption. So you have these 3 core facts: the death, the burial, and the resurrection. They form the non-negotiable heart of the Christian faith. It's not a philosophy to be debated or a moral code to be followed. It's a declaration of historical events with divine significance. It's news, good news, in fact. The news is that through Jesus' death, our sins can be forgiven. Through his burial, we know his death was real. And through his resurrection, we have the promise of new life, victory over death, and a restored relationship with God. Paul continues in that same passage to list the eyewitnesses to the resurrection. Peter, the 12 apostles, then more than 500 people at once, then James, then all the apostles again, and finally to Paul himself. This isn't mythology or a legend that grew over time. This was a claim based on a massive number of eyewitness accounts, people who were alive and could be questioned when Paul was writing. They saw him, they touched him. Their lives were forever changed. This three-part message, died for our sins, was buried, and rose again, is what has powered the church for 2,000 years. It's a message of hope in the face of despair, of life in the face of death. It tells us that we are not defined by our failures or our sins, but we can be defined by the grace and love of a God who is willing to go to such lengths to save us. It's a truth that's meant to be received, believed, and then, just as Paul did, passed on to others. It's the most important news you will ever hear. It's not about being a good person to earn your way to God. It's about recognizing that we can't, and accepting the gift of salvation that Jesus offers through his finished work on the cross and his glorious resurrection. That's the gospel in a nutshell. It's simple enough for a child to understand, yet profound enough to spend a lifetime exploring. Thank you so much for joining me today to reflect on this foundational truth. I hope this was encouraging and clarifying for you. If you found value in this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing so you don't miss our future discussions. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care. God bless you.